Yeah, so this was an interesting one, the no expiration, the no deadline parameter and the lack of slippage protection. And actually I'm just going to paste a link into the chat, and this is where I got it from. It was actually applicable, I believe, the deadline parameter one in the Juicebox audit as well. So yeah, that was my first audit, and then seeing it come up and the second one, code base, like so quickly, was quite interesting. But so I guess the guidance on this is that without a deadline parameter that enforces the time limit by which the transaction must be executed, that transaction can sit in the mempool and can be executed at a much later time, like potentially resulting in a worse price. Obviously, if blocks timestamp is used in there as well, that also it's vulnerable in that sense, and doesn't offer protection. So I think like the attack vector is through sort of MEV bots, as I understand it. But yeah, this was my first finding, and just the fact that it related so clearly to this explanation that was here was quite interesting.
Super cool. Yeah. So thanks for sharing. This is another vulnerability that we didn't talk yet about. So I will just summarize this vulnerability. So this is basically the contract is using Uniswap to swap tokens, okay? And it's using Uniswap V3. And as you can see here, it's an audit issue that I wrote that the deadline was commented out, okay? It was just, this is how the code was. It was commented out, and it's basically going to revert because if I remember correctly, you cannot, Uniswap is going to revert your transaction if you didn't send the deadline as a parameter to the function in all the data. Yeah. So I don't know if like deadline override MEV issues or like price, I think it would just not work. So it's a denial of service attack, right? Because the protocol cannot do swaps, but I'm really proud of you guys that you saw it and reported it. It's very nice to see these vulnerabilities live. And here was another issue where is the amount out minimum that it can be front run. So if you went through the front running chapter, you probably saw it immediately, because it basically means that the contract is telling Uniswap, hey, I'm willing to receive 0 tokens, okay? And obviously, even if the liquidity is high, any bot, any MEV bot can come and see and front run the transaction and make sure that this contract gets, 0 tokens. So all the swaps that the contract is doing are broken because the deadline is not being sent, so it's going to revert. But even if the deadline would be sent, it would still be broken because of this. It would lose money because of this kind of amount out minimum. Yeah, so this is the first vulnerability that I reported, which is like the access control issue. Yeah, and this was the second one. So this is basically the other one that we saw, and this one I decided to report. So this is the other one, which is the one that we saw with the minimum amount out minimum. So I reported this, that basically the USSD contract can lose in both DAI and USSD anytime it makes a swap, or in any other token that is using this function to swap tokens through Uniswap, because of this no slippage protection.